Every time Jen Dean speaks, I can see hope, knowledge, expertise, wisdom, and love.
When Jen Dean speaks about parenting, we make sure that we are there to listen because we know we will get valuable advice.
Families Matter Most with Jen Dean.
She doesn't just give skills for us to be better parents, but she teaches us how to reach our children's hearts. And at the end of the day, that's what truly matters.
Dr. B is here. Bethany Bilodeau, an expert in human behavior. She has her doctorate in leadership, numerous certifications in behavioral strategies and nutrition, supplements, all of the things. What can we incorporate to make our life better? Dr. B, thanks for joining the podcast.
I'm super happy to be here, Jen. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, your expertise right now is being utilized in your business. You have the Behaviour Bootcamp, which is an online course and a book you've written to give strategies for our children's behavior. I'm curious, what are the more common questions you get? Someone gives you a call. They're like, Dr. B, I need your help. My kids, they're struggling. They're driving me nuts. What is the most common phone call you're getting?
Probably because of what I'm known for. It's usually meltdowns and typically aggressive behavior, because those are really kind of my forte as far as working with students with some intense aggression. I get a lot of phone calls for refusals and a lot for, screen time issues and things like that as well. But typically the meltdowns.
Okay. So the idea is a parent or a teacher is calling you saying, my kid refuses to go to bed, go to school, turn the screen off, come to the table for dinner, something like that. And we end up with rage, tantrums.
Sometimes it's their spouse. You never know.
Any parent ever call you and say, it's me. It's me.
And I would say, I was that child. That's why I do this.
Right? We understand. I was also that child, the strong-willed, the determined, spirited child. That was me.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, man. So, Dr. B, what do you say? What is the first thing you say? A mom, a dad, a teacher gives you a call and says, help me.
Yeah. The first thing I usually say is, you're doing a great job. I know that you probably haven't heard that, but I know that this is tough and you are really doing the most, because oftentimes they're feeling like, I must be failing. It's some reflection of me. I've done something wrong, and so on and so forth. And the fact that they're reaching out to so many resources, trying to find some sort of solution is huge in and of itself. Yeah. It shows just how invested, how much they care, and at what lengths they're going to go to make sure that their child is successful and everything. So the first thing is always, are you okay? And how can we do something to help you? And then I give them a few strategies that will help to pull that kiddo out of it. And I also talk about warning signs, like what they're going to see coming. That chest is going to pop, those shoulders are going to go down. With a teenager, they're probably going to cross their arms, or they're going to get that surly, lip lift of disgust on the one side and those things. And as soon as you know those signs are coming, that's when you say, okay, this is not a good time for us to be having a conversation about A, B, and C, and whatever it is that I need to get them to do. If it's I need to get them to the dinner table, or we need to get out the house to school, I've got to figure out how I'm going to strategically make that happen. So if I'm trying to get them out of the house to go to school and they're in refusal mode for school, it might be something as simple like, oh my gosh, could you do me a favor? I've got to leave for work. Also, can you run out and start my car? I do this a lot with higher middle school and high school kids. And the reason why is because most of them, they want to start the car. They enjoy that prior to getting their license. So they're going to go out and start the car. At that point, they're moving. Yeah. And then you can see as soon as they come back in, grab your bag, we're on our way. And you don't have to address the refusal behavior right then. You can just work them into the activity of what they need to do. And at that point, usually they're moving, they're, active, they're thinking about what needs to come next and that sort of thing. And it doesn't occur to them to refuse.
So we're trying to outsmart those teens.
Yeah, which is tough because they got a lot of time on their hands and they got plenty of time to think about how to outwit us and everything else. And believe me, if they have enough time, they will win. If you think you're going to be able to just win by doing something, you're never going to win as a parent. It's never going to happen.
That's so true. great strategy for the preteen, teen, but what about younger? What's something we can do to incorporate that? They're in refusal. Let's say they don't want to get in the car to go to school. What do we do?
So if they don't want to get in the car to go to school, then we're going to make that feel like a safe place. And we're also going to give them some type of regulator to use when they're getting into the car or something like that. So I do a lot of travel training with kids who can't ride safely in a car, or don't get in a car, or oftentimes are ejecting themselves from a moving vehicle, those sorts of things. So they get in the car and we have, a comfort item, whether it's a lap pad or whether I'm using their backpack as a lap pad or something like that. They have things to do when they're in the car. So whether that's some drawing tools or some sort of, thing that I've picked up, but some sort of a craft, if they're a crafter, if it's some sort of a, graphic story that they're creating, if they like to tell stories, whatever it may be that I know is going to connect with them so that we can ride safely in the car. And then we are going on a few rides, building some safety beneath us so that they then can ride safely with other people, especially with their parents. And oftentimes I'll tell them, mom and dad, they're going to track, or whomever you're living with, they're going to track the data over the next week here before I see you again, and let me know if things were safe. So we know what we need to do in order to make it so that you can ride safely in the car.
Dr. B has joined the podcast today, giving us tips when kids are in refusal. So I love this car idea. And what I'm hearing you say then is that activity would stay in the car. It would be something that would stay there. That would be the thing that you do in the car. All right. Yep. How about getting those younger kids into the car?
So that works the same way. We usually use some sort of high intensity energy to get them out into the car. We're making it into some sort of game. I gamify almost everything. So we're making it into some sort of a game, or we're using a song or something like that in order to get them out and into that activity. But we're making it pleasurable. So it has to be pleasurable. They have to feel safe. They need to feel like they're somewhat regulated or at least engaged in the process, especially with kids. If they have to use a buddy buckle or a harness to ride in the car because they're incidences of being unsafe are so high. Then when they're getting in the car, we're doing it in a really safe way. I'm showing them how the buddy buckle works. I'm showing them the key. I'm holding the key on my finger as I'm driving so they can see the key the entire time. Anytime they say, okay, Dr. B, I need for you to pull over. I don't feel safe. Okay, I pull right over. We unbuckle. We get re-regulated, feel safe again before the journey continues on. And we're very clear about the boundaries starting out. Like I've been, with them, working with them, and we're saying, okay, what are the rules of the car? And they're going through what the rules are. And we do some pleasurable things in the car. Like what kind of music do they want to listen to? What sorts of things do they want for activities? And making sure it supports their needs so that they're invested and they want to be a part of it. But we're collaborating together. This isn't a unilateral thing of I'm saying, you're getting in the car and you're going to be safe. Not that I haven't done that with my own kids, but
we've done everything wrong.
That's right. This is why we do what we do.
Yep. 100%.
Absolutely. So, but when we're getting in, we're really making sure that we're addressing all those pieces so that they're able to be successful every single time. I'm not going to put them in a scenario that I think there is a likelihood that it's not going to be successful by 50 or 60%. I'm only, engaging in it when I know, hey, this has got like an 80% chance it's going to be successful.
Yeah. Dr. B, I'm curious. This sounds a lot like something that when I'm working with families, I call it practicing. This sounds like we are practicing what we want to see in our kids, but you've taken it to the next level. This does require, sadly, probably require parents have to get up earlier and be a little bit more organized in the morning, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's a bummer. After all the way around.
It really is.
I am truly that parent that all of my clothes are ready for the week. Every outfit is out and prepared. I have breakfast options, backup options. And I do this with parents too. I'd be like, what are they eating tomorrow? Well, I think we're going to have eggs. What if he gets up in the morning and he doesn't like eggs? What else are you going to do?
Yeah.
Because no matter what, we want to make sure they eat before they leave in the morning. That's priority. So, making sure that you have a plan and a backup plan for the plan and doing as many things to take stress off your plate as you possibly can during the day, and really thinking about what is going to make it work for us. Because us being 5 minutes late, it may be a bummer. The kid's late to school, but is it going to in any way impact us in the grand scheme of things? Then don't let that bother you. Let that go.
Yep. Let it go. Because I believe, and I've done this, I have failed at this myself, but I believe that it is more hurtful to have the last thing we say to our kids be something mean and angry and sarcastic, and then shooing them out the door and they're gone for the day. And that was our last conversation. I've done that. I hate that. I think
we've all done that.
We've all done that. So no shame for people, but let's try and do better. And that's a great reminder. It is not the worst thing if we are late. If we are known as the late family, that's just what it's got to be.
I've got 2 of those kids out of my 4. And I mean, every day we're sitting in the car, literally twiddling our thumbs, waiting for one of them to come out.
Yep.
And she's late, and the school sends me the tardy notes and I hand them to her, and they know that and the school's fully aware that it is 100% her. She just is one of those kids that's always late. And I just, we've had to rearrange our life, the rest of our life a little bit, so that doesn't make me late and that doesn't make her sister late. Yeah. So it is what it is, and we let it go because I don't want that to mar my relationship with her. And that's tough a lot of times. And a lot of parents feel that, especially if you've got a kid that's going to school and doing something where you're getting calls all the time and the school saying, you've got that kid, you're avoiding it. You see the school number come in and you're like, oh crap, what can I do to pretend I don't have to answer this phone call?
Yes.
For the last month, you're pulling all those antics out and everything else, but it makes it extremely stressful for the parent, and it makes it harder to connect with your child and harder to love your child and see your child for the wonderful qualities they have.
I want to switch gears here a little bit now, because ADHD, it's a big deal. And a lot of us, we're parents, we're looking at ourselves thinking, gee, I think maybe I have undiagnosed ADHD, and now my kids are being diagnosed with this. So whether, they're in the classroom or they're at home, some of the behaviors we see would be the difficulty focusing, finishing through on tasks that are hard for them. What are some of the other things that we commonly see in households and in classrooms?
A hard time with follow through, really disorganization, troubles with executive functioning, a lot of additional movement. Oftentimes it's accompanied with the hyperactivity, but not always. They have a real challenge sometimes maintaining relationships. And about 60% of the kids that experience ADHD also experience oppositional defiant disorder. So everything becomes an argument. Everything is a conflict. I always got to prove you wrong.
Yep.
I say that through personal experience.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm thinking this through. Oh, there's some correlation here. And you talked about executive function. What does that mean to have a difficulty with executive function?
So for kids, for planning and initiation, it's going to be really challenging. And at the beginning of tasks, that's what's seen the most. If you have a kid with ADHD, typically their bedroom looks like a bomb went off. And if you tell them to go clean it, they don't know where to start. They don't even know how to prioritize. And that happens in all other areas of their life. And you can see it, their room looks like their brain, literally. You're like, holy moly, your room resembles how you think about things. It's just as disorganized and chaotic and everything else. And it's really hard for them to rein themselves in. So them learning tools to help to organize them and prioritize things is very helpful. So if they're just cleaning their room is a great example. If they're going to clean their room, say, go into your room, get me all the dirty clothes first. So they go in and get all the dirty clothes. Then put all the clean clothes in the correct drawers. Yes, you have to say correct drawers, or they're going to get shoved in one drawer or just thrown all in the closet.
Hidden in the closet. We shut the door. It's fine now.
It's gone.
Very specific. And this isn't just for 4-year-olds. This is for 14-year-olds.
Yeah, or 40-year-olds. Yeah, that's same.
Yeah. So you have to break it down. And that is something likely if someone has been diagnosed with ADHD, that's something that's always going to be probably a challenge for them, is getting started, breaking up that big picture into actionable tasks and steps is always going to be difficult. Some kids, though, hyper focus. I'm thinking of one of my kids that's been diagnosed.
Yeah, and that tends to be more of an ADD, of an overfocus ADD, where they overfocus on that. And what ends up happening is actually the basal ganglia in the brain. Not that I want to nerd out. Those of you who know me, you know I'm a super nerd. But the basal ganglia is really, really active. It's very excitable. And because of that, they overfocus. And those are the people that wake up in the middle of the night often, and they think about every little thing, and they keep going over it and over it, or they might hold a grudge against someone for years and years and years, or they might be thinking about like a situation that happened with a friend, and that's just like they think about it for days. They can't let it go.
Yeah, they obsess. My son diagnosed with that hyper focus. It's interesting. It has its benefits too, though. He decided he was going to write a book, and so he hyper focused. I'm going to write a book this weekend. And he did. He wrote a book in a weekend.
That's impressive.
Who can do that? I don't know if he slept, but he wrote a book. He finished it.
Yeah. So a lot of people with insomnia also have that overfocus ADD. So L-theanine is great for that. It helps to calm in that area of the brain. The L-theanine supplement really helps to calm that area of the brain. It also helps with sleep, which is really huge for people who experience that. They oftentimes have real trouble sleeping. And so the L-theanine helps to kind of calm that down. Magnesium also helps with it too.
And that would be at night. L-theanine and magnesium at night. Probably for the school day too. Can kids take L-theanine?
They can. And usually what I do is I'll have kids take like ashwagandha earlier on in the day, since that's an adaptogen and it's going to adapt to the stress levels within their body and help calm that down. But the L-theanine I'll use at night, as well as magnesium, usually magnesium threonate, because it crosses the blood-brain barrier a little bit easier than the other kinds of magnesium. And it really helps to kind of calm that brain down and get them into, those deeper states of sleep.
So can I just pause? I'm writing it down. I know I'm going to get this all in notes, but I'm writing it down. As we're talking about this, just a time out for a second. Let's totally switch gears to perimenopausal women who have trouble sleeping. That's me.
Yeah.
And probably I'm the reason my kids have ADHD. So could I take L-theanine and magnesium?
You absolutely could. You could also try to take rhodiola instead at night as well, or in lieu of the L-theanine, the rhodiola. The great thing about that is it's going to help with the hot flashes and everything else. It'll help to decrease all those symptoms.
Oh my goodness. We're getting all the help.
Early on in the day, I usually recommend to perimenopause, and as well as women who are just postmenopause. If you're having a hard time focusing, or you're like, why did I come in this room? What happened here? Did I turn that stove on? Schisandra is a great supplement for that too. It helps you just to kind of zero in and focus on things.
I'm writing that down too. Dr. B giving us all the tools and strategies for ADHD, for kids having meltdowns at home, and for us, so we can sleep and function and not forget that we left the stove on.
And I know those things just mainly because I'm of that age. So.
Fair. I love these ideas for supplements. Now, of course, check with your doctor, confirm everything
Always.
Before you make these decisions yourself. But these are great suggestions for where we should go next and get some extra help. What about just regular stuff at home? Habits, food, things that help our kids be more successful in the classroom?
Oh my gosh. So nutrition is probably the biggest one. And the big one that I end up really counseling with parents on is one, getting away from a lot of those simple carbs, because most of us who have ADHD, that's what we crave. Like, we really want those simple carbs. We want the breads, we want the pastries, we want all that. Why? Because as soon as you start chewing them, they turn to sugar. And so that sugar helps to excite the brain, and it makes us clear for just a few moments, and then we crash. And so you've got to find other ways to do it. So what's the best way to do that with nutrition? It's really with protein. So higher levels of protein, really smart carbs, which when I say that, I'm talking about fruits and vegetables. So, and which isn't what most kids want. So I've got to be sneaky about a lot of the stuff that we do with that. So whether it's, you've got to look at, and I hate to proteinify everything the way, kind of the world.
It's a trend.
Like the protein chips and the protein this and the protein that. But even just a matter of adding some either pea protein isolate or whey protein isolate to a smoothie, or adding it into Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt's real high in protein. So doing those sorts of things and making sure that US just upped the dietary guidelines for protein as well. So, making sure you're really hitting those dietary, at least, if not more. For people with ADHD, that is critical, because the reason why is it's going to help push the large amino acids into the big muscle groups. It's going to help to oxygenate the brain. Additionally with that, you could try something like ginkgo biloba or L-tyrosine to help to get that blood flow going and that focus. And everything else, again, check with your doctor before you try supplements and things like that. But that is critical, because people with ADHD, they really crave the stimulants and they crave the sugar. So sugar acts like a stimulant for them. So they're going to crave the energy drinks, the coffee, the, sugar-based sodas, all those sorts of things. So making sure that they're getting enough protein to really help to replenish the brain, and making sure that it's in a constant state of healing, because we are always, need to be repairing and healing our brains.
Dr. Bethany Bilodeau, expert in human behavior, works predominantly with kids that are in the middle of meltdowns, tantrums, aggression. Tell me, Monsters, energy drinks are huge with young people right now. It's getting them through the day. It's cool. What do we think? Is this going to work?
Oh, gosh, no. And the problem with them is that you hit that high and then you come right back down. So unless you're consuming them on a really intense basis, it's not going to help you. Personally, I would rather see someone have an organic, mold tested coffee versus having a Monster. I would rather have, them engage in something like that. And the reason why is because the Monster, it has so many other additives to it, and that's just a brand. Most of those brands have those additives.
It's all bad. I think it's that immediate fix that it helps you for a moment, but then you crash, and then it's 2 in the afternoon and you can't keep your eyes open in math class.
For sure. Yeah. And it's, and for a lot of our high school kids, it's first thing in the morning. They just can't wake up because schools start way too early for them, their circadian rhythms. Honestly, they should be starting school at 9 or so in the morning. And for kids where school districts have changed the timing, where they actually do start later, they function much, much better. You see less behavioral issues. You see higher academic scores. It's significantly helped. And that changes when they're in their early 20s and mid 20s. But for that period of time, they really need a shift of their schedules, because you're basically asking someone to get up in the middle of the night and start doing intense cognitive work. And it's unrealistic to expect that they'd be highly successful.
So maybe not planning math first thing would be smart.
Be helpful.
Let's have art first thing, maybe. Let's warm our brains up a little bit. If we have any kind of control over that, let's organize our days to work with our kids' rhythms. Last question is about sleep. Can sleep help our kids, and any ideas on how to help our kids get more of it?
There is nothing that will repair the body to the extent that sleep will. So sleep is the number one thing. If you're having issues with brain health, with getting sick a lot, with losing weight, with being able to change body comp, all of those things, with keeping relationships, all of those things are tied into sleep. Those are huge. And I would say for everyone, guard your sleep as tightly as you can, figure out what it is that will get you to go to bed when your body needs to go to bed, and to be able to sleep is to the point of when your body feels it's been rested. So for years, I operated on 4 or 5 hours of sleep for years. And I said, I'm just one of those people that needs less sleep. I bet I'm not. I bet I don't have that gene. There are a few people that do have that gene. There are, that's the people that are in the elite armed forces and stuff like that. They do. They are able to operate on less sleep. I'm not one of them.
Nope.
So allot yourself enough time to be in bed at least 8 to 9 hours, because you need at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep.
Oh.
And for almost every human, that is true.
Now, this is just a guess probably, but what percentage of the population do you think is getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. I bet it's limited. Since the 1950s, we have decreased the number of hours we sleep per night by 2 hours. It used to be 8 to 9 hours. Back in the 50s, it's now 6 to 7. For
a long time, I was happy if I got 7. That felt like the best I could get. And then perimenopause kicked my butt. And now it's back to the basics for me.
Yep.
It's drink the water, get the sleep, go for the walk.
Yep. Got to do all the things. Yeah. And with perimenopause too, your thirst is not what it used to be. You're not as thirsty. Yeah, so your thirst regulation shuts down. And so many women are also dehydrated at that age. So if you think about how you're interacting with your kids and your family members, and if you have, young ones or teens in the house and that sort of thing, I always say the rage. My husband's always like, you've got the rage thing. And I'm like, I know I could throat punch someone at any point.
And he gives you a glass of water. Is that what you need?
It's like, baby, go take a nap.
Yes. Dr. Bethany Bilodeau, you can find her course at the Behaviour Bootcamp. Her book is phenomenal. It gives tons of strategies, whether you're working with kids or just want to raise yours. Then read her book. And also what I love on her website, there's lots of free stuff too. There's webinars, there's different things. So check out thebehaviorbootcamp.com. Dr. B, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Families Matter Most podcast with Jen Dean. Book a free strategy call today and get the tools and tips you need to be a more calm and confident parent. For more podcasts, online courses, or just to get more information, visit familiesmattermost.com.